chop, take two.
Woo! Here we
Matt and
are.
I have been talking for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I thought we were going. And Matt was like, hey, are you going to start the stream?
I didn't realize it at first either. I was like, oh, look, the little live thing isn't on.
I was just showing
Hey,
off.
Spike.
Hey, Super Spike. I was just
I'm
showing
glad
off.
somebody was here.
I was just showing Matt some stuff I've been working on. And yeah, I think most of the rest of you have seen it. All right. So, no, it's just, I played the music and I, for whatever reason, like, yeah, we started. No, always forget you have to hit the start stream twice. Because it's like, are you sure you want to start your stream? And I'm like, I wouldn't push the start stream button if I wasn't sure, motherfucker.
Yeah, but I could see it going the other way where you press it and you're like, oh shit, my fly's open.
Yeah.
My wang's out. I gotta.
I generally don't whip out my wang when I'm doing live streaming. Generally.
Well, no, not on.
Wang whippage or the release of the hog generally does not happen.
Save that for extra life donation.
Save it for later, baby. Shaggy, it's all me. It's no one else's fault. I'm just a real struggle muggle. Yeah. So Matt and I were just chit chatting about some customs we were doing. That was about.
Now that we are live, I do have a hard out at about 5 to 11. I gotta go meet a guy.
Oh, you gotta meet a guy about a thing.
Yeah, but I'm here, and we'll do what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
What's on your agenda today?
Arcs.
All right.
Still working on arcs. So I added a few. I don't know if I added Children of Bach last time, which was apparently something from, I think, the comics.
Okay.
Which is like this group cloned this Nikto warrior who was trained to kill Jedi over and over and over again.
Oh.
Created like a cult out of him, and the Jedi thought they wiped them all out, and I'm saying no, you didn't. There's still some left. Another one has more to do with, like, again, I think I've talked about it before. I want to do something on Mimban.
Okay.
So kind of this idea of like Alari Marin tricked this ambassador, this Duros ambassador, and used his information to siphon funds from the Imperials, and they thought it was this guy, so they arrested him, ran him through trial, and then press ganged him into military service on Mimban. So in a move that is very unlike the character, she feels bad. So she's like, I want you guys to go extract him from the middle of a war zone. This one I came up with this morning. So I kind of was curious, like, hey, what happens to Ram Koda in the video games that would have been around this time? So apparently around this time, he attacks the TIE fighter construction facility on Nar Shaddaa to try to draw out Darth Vader. And instead, he gets Starkiller. And Starkiller almost kills him. And lets him go, and then, of course, tracks him back down and says, hey, will you train me to be a Jedi? But blinds him in the process and blocks him off from the Force. So this is kind of like, since your group has met him before, it's out of general SOS. And it's like, do you answer it? Do you go into what is definitively going to be a bad spot to extract this guy and his troops from a huge military mistake? Which also begs the question, what did he think he was going to get? Like, if he thought he was going to get Vader, I mean, granted, Starkiller's insane, powerful, but I mean, he was looking to kill Vader, which is also wild to me.
Right.
And those are the couple I added to that list. I added a couple to my Take Me Home Old Fair Roads list, which is the Great Household Spirit War, which is kind of me riffing on the Great Yokai War. Which, if you haven't seen, watch the Takeshi Miike movie is good, but watch the old Toho late 60s yokai trilogy. They're really good. You can watch them with your kids. They're black and white. They're super fun. The special effects are just absolutely awesome, and the yokai are really fun. But the whole thing is a spirit. spirit shows up and causes local spirits to basically get riled up, and some of them begin to turn on each other, and this outside evil spirit eventually they have to deal with it. In this case, I want them to be like even the Chewingas in the outside of town are agitated. And I definitively love the Chewingas. I think they're one of the most adorable things D&D has ever come up with. I just like everything about them. They're just very Miyazaki. Um, the next one is into Coldwater Mansion. It's like an old ruins of a mansion, and it's underwater.
Okay.
So you have to go underwater to get to it. I kind of like the idea of exploring an underwater dungeon, lack of a better term. Especially since this area is a lot of like I'm trying to think how to explain it. So I grew up. I was born in a town called Pittsburgh, and I grew up around there. And there's a lot of lakes, and there's these lakes. This area is called the Little Balkans. There's all these lakes and hills, and all this stuff is because of the pit mining.
Yeah,
they would dig these pit mines, and then they ended up filling up with water. They become lakes. Well, people die all the time from swimming in these things.
Oh yeah.
And like I like the idea of like when the fall happens and it destroys civilization and it creates all these craters and everything. Over time they've filled with water. So there's all these like I would say on the map there's more water than land. It's just like a giant inland sea coming from a disaster, more or less. I like the idea of like there's ruins, there's actual civilizations that disappeared because of this. Like one of the things I think I have in my write-up is, not in that write-up, I have it in one of my write-ups, is that there's an entire, like the Mer people of this area are not Mer people originally. They're people who basically, when this all was happening, it thought the end of the world. So they made an agreement with a, elder power that turned them into Mer people.
Okay.
Kind of shadow out of Innsmouth a little bit.
Yeah, so this is actually kind of inspiring, reminding me of
beautiful.
I've been listening to a new podcast, and it's the 1-800 Hot Dog Crew, and or at least some of them, and they are watching every episode of the Discovery Travel original Mountain Monsters, which is it's something. Anyway, in one of the episodes they talk about
that guy's name.
It's the Wolfman of Wolf County, but of course they say it Wolfman of Wolf County because they're a bunch of Appalachian dudes. Anyway, because they make it up as they go along, there's not a whole lot of continuity, and they kind of like hit upon interesting ideas and then don't do them because it's a weird reality show.
Yeah.
But there's a silver mine, and there's supposedly a wolfman around it, and as they're like talking about like, oh, well, here's what they could have done, and we came up with this in 5 minutes. But the idea that there was a wolfman at some point, and in my mind, I'm thinking about this now. It's like, all right, so if there was a wolfman, maybe the villagers like chase him down, and he runs into this cave, and shit, there's like a huge vein of silver in there. So the wolfman's done. Like, but then all the people who ran in there are trying to get him are like, oh shit, there's silver in here. We don't want anybody else to get it. So they start pretending to be wolfmen to try and
Scooby doing it.
Scooby do it.
Oh God, I love it.
And then maybe over time, that's just kind of like they just protect it, and they're just like living as these wolfmen, but they're not. And so everybody is like, don't go over to that cave. It's full of freaking werewolves, and it's just a bunch of dudes. Trying to keep people away from this silver.
So there's a guy, and I put his link in the chat, called Billiam. And Billiam does a bunch of things like watches shit like that, and then talks about it on his channel, which I love. And he like has like monster hunters and stuff like that. He is like a huge love for, and his videos on them are. So you immediately made me think of that. I was like, oh God, he has a weird fascination with like Ben 10. He's done a bunch of
Oh,
videos on Ben 10. He's got an interesting channel.
yeah.
And got him a case of lycanthropy. He hid from the locals in some abandoned dwarven mines. The Armitage family claimed that they only discovered the beast because of the echoed howling emanating from the mines. Yeah, I know, spell check. I'm a bad speller. Oh man, that sneeze was right there. It was right there. What a jip. I was trying to mute my mic and I was like, oh, it's coming. Oh Lord, he's coming. Hold on. Damn it. William was never actually caught, but the tales continued and the mines were cordoned off.
I mean, I could
the
see
Armitage
I mean, are these
family
like
to protect?
are they full on just like killing people who go in there to
I
try
think
and
so.
secret? Yeah.
Protect the locals from the werewolves hiding there.
So is it, yeah, like every so often they venture into town in a werewolf outfit and just freaking either attack or kill somebody to keep it alive.
And slowly using to increase their wealth and power. They take turns wearing the vestiges of the wolf in order to scare off locals and adventurers. In the last 5 years, this has even resulted in a few horrific deaths.
Yeah, I'm trying. Or yeah, are there any like creatures or whatever that like want silver?
I think an Umvarax only wants gold. I'd have to look it up again. What does an Umvarax?
That could be the twist on it because the party could just be like, oh, it's just a bunch of dudes in wolf suits, and then it's like, oh no, they're like giving some of this silver to this creature or power in order to get something from them or whatever.
Of course, I can't spell Umvarax.
Yeah, a Rumvarax.
6-legged badger who eats metal. Oh, a Roomvarax. Okay. What do they eat? I love this. I love these monsters. They're like an 8. Oh, they eat gold.
Okay.
Now we could just have a. I think it's easy to say this particular strain eats silver because it's.
Well, let's see here. So let's.
So what was your idea of having them in there?
That like the players are gonna be like, oh, okay, they're gonna eventually figure it out and just be like, oh, it's a bunch of dudes
I was going to say Billiam comes to them.
It's just a bunch of dudes in wolf suits.
I was
And
going
then,
to say Billiam is the person who rats them out. The
but then,
actual werewolf rats them out.
but then it could be like, oh no, like, oh yeah, he could be like, yeah, I don't know these guys. They're not werewolves. But so then the players go in there and they're like, yep, definitely not werewolves. This will be easy. And then all of a sudden, boom, here's the creature or whatever that they weren't expecting. That the
my thing I was going to have is that the current head of the Armitage family is a werewolf now.
Okay.
He's made like almost like a skinwalker-esque suit. So he's not like a classic lycanthrope. He wears a thing that turns him into a werewolf.
Oh, okay.
But I like the idea of like one of the potential hazards is that, and like Billiam can tell them there's a secret entry to the mine, but this is where a silver umbrax has set up its den. So they have to figure out a way to like get it out so they can get in.
Yeah. Or is there, I mean, I wonder if it's is there a different, like, maybe it's not like, oh, is there something else that looks like a werewolf where you could mistake it for a werewolf?
There's a wolf weir, which is a wolf that turns into a human.
Oh. Do they have the same?
Yeah, they're
werewolves.
Yeah, there is actually a really cool there is actually a very cool D&D bad guy in Ravenloft named Harkin Lucas. He's the domain lord of his area in the Domains of Dread, which is I'm trying to remember the name of it. Kartakas. He is a wolf weir, but he can't make more wolf weirs. He can only make werewolves, which bothers him. He's also a bard, and he has bard colleges in his tiny land because he's constantly looking for people he can turn. So they do the whole like, hey, come on in, you're great, everything's great. And then they hunt people. But he's like very loathsome about like the fact these other people aren't wolf weirs. Because to him, they're like not his equal. He wants a pack and he has a bunch of like low life werewolves, which he despises. Because the whole thing, if you run a domain, you're trapped there. It's like your own personal hell. Like Strahd is trapped in Barovia. Like the domains, there's these things called the Dark Lords that control over the domain lords, and they keep them prisoner there. It's like Strahd is always tormented by the fact that the woman he loved, who basically caused, or who he used as an excuse to do all these horrific things and become a vampire, she ever so often reincarnates in his lands in Barovia, and he can never have her. She always either dies or escapes or kills herself like the original did. So he's always tortured by it. And every domain lord has this problem. Like they can never get what they want. Like it was Aslan the Lich, who's this Lich who's super smart and like this awesome like wizard. He can never learn new spells. So he was constantly training apprentices to make new magic because he couldn't. And then he couldn't learn the magic they were making, and he'd get mad and kill them. All those things are like that. It's real fun. Like that's one reason I love Ravenloft.
Yeah.
And the fact that like you could kill Strahd, but he'll just reform in like so many days. He just all it does is open the borders of Barovia so you can actually leave.
Yeah.
And then you just wander into a different domain, which sucks for you.
Let's see here. Oh, this actually, I think it being a wolf weir would be good because they hate werewolves.
Yeah. Harkin Lucas hates all these werewolves he's creating, but he can't stop himself.
And it looks like they're weak to iron.
Yeah. Hey,
not
Super Spike, check out those links about Harkin Lucas. He is a very cool villain. and that idea of like he's just like can't control himself, and he keeps making more werewolves, and he fucking hates them. It's kind of the best. Also, that he also is like super excited to train talented people, but they almost always inevitably outshine him, so he feels he has to kill them. Ravenloft really is like, hey, do you like Hammer movies and gothic horror? Well, this is just D&D gothic horror turned up to 11. So I was gonna say, Billiam goes, he's being hunted. Asks.
That I like. I like that it's a wolf weir because
So my idea is here.
They're weak to iron, not silver, so it's gonna throw off the players.
After years of using this, technique, a long lost cousin
or is it that like this maybe, I mean, if this wolf weir is usually in human form, does like maybe the family doesn't even know that like the patriarch or whatever.
I think like it's a long lost cousin who's come in and slowly just risen to the top. The cream, yes. Yeah. For help, they send the PCs. William tells them of a back entrance to the mines. He doesn't know that it is now a silver Omru Vorax den. Still being hunting? Come on, Ben. All right. So that's great. I love that one. I also had this one up here. I was thinking about like there's a picture I think from 3rd edition, and it's like an orc or a half orc on stilts, like farming rice, like in like almost like Chinese style peasant garb. I absolutely love that picture. So I think like, okay, well, here's a group of orcs that I wrote a little bit about it here. There were like 3 tribes like left in this area after the disaster, and they basically were killing each other.
Okay.
And to the point where they had all ended up just having to form one tribe. They were on an island, and they basically turned to becoming fishermen, and they allied themselves with the merfolk around, and they started training dire beavers.
Okay.
And became paddy farmers. So once the inland sea receded, they crossed an inlet, and now they're like control this opening of a river into the primary inland sea. So my thing is they are pissed at the village because they feel like they're stealing trade. So they declare war, trade war. And they challenge because they don't do the whole like, hey, if we pull our swords out, you're shit. I mean, this is end times.
Yeah.
So they challenge him to a duel of honor, fishing honor. I just thought that was weird and possibly fun.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Also want to do something about like a fall festival.
There was a really interesting. I I don't know how like where you work this in, but I'm just gonna throw it out there and see if it sparks anything for you. There was a fun little arc in the Usagi Yojimbo comic, and there's a festival. It's the Kite Festival, and when they would build new uh, levees to hold the rivers back, they would have this kite festival because then all the people at the festival would be running up and down the levees with their kites to pack down the dirt.
I
So
love that.
it served a dual purpose. Um, and I don't know what you do with that, but I like it as a a historical kind of fun thing.
Every year
Because if
in
it's a dirt,
early thaw, the villagers make their way to the slowly thawing banks and um, reinforce them by packing more material there and then running up and down these. I hate when I have to like check a word.
and yeah, they would do like the battle kites too, where they'd put something like they'd glue like ground glass or whatever to the strings, and then you try and maneuver them into the other people's kites to cut the strings, and that's how you win your kite battle.
Um, I like the idea too of like they have to stamp it down, build the dikes back up because of erosion. At like on the thaw.
Mm.
Um, so if they win, someone gets boots of flying for 1 year.
Yeah,
So this is less of like this is more just like a cool.
a little, yeah,
I like the idea too of like you can easily like then build in rivals or friends from other villages and things like that.
yeah,
Um, all right, so what do we? I'd like to do at least 4 festivals a year that actually like mean something.
sure.
Because one thing I want to be able to do with this is kind of show a passing of time. Um, so what would be a good like fall festival? Like what would be a good thing for?
Well, it's usually harvest. Um,
I mean, we could just go straight up Stardew Valley and be like, oh, it's a food competition. You bring your 6 best items,
right.
and the person with the best 6 items wins this cool prize.
Yeah, or like you got your state fair, your county fair, or whatever. It's like here's all the products of the summer. Bring your livestock or your you know
Um, what's the dance, the harvest, and there's got to be one more. What am I? Craft.
hmm.
Um, locals from the area bring their best crops and creations to be judged. They trade and they form alliances and relationships here. The dance is a
Performance by the Oak Ridge Boys.
a performance both known for its known for its beauty and danger. It is an aggressive partnered dance where
I mean, it could even be it could even be like a mock battle. Like they used
that's what I'm thinking.
They used to do that at the state fair.
Prohibited
or like the State Fair Museum was always interesting because it's like, yeah, here's the year that
only one pair.
The main grandstand show was just, we're gonna crash 2 trains into each other and charge people to watch it.
Yeah. Did
Yes,
you ever get? You did get your Big Ben and Range Vipers?
I did. I can't decide if I want more Range Vipers or not. It's really cool.
Something of like a dance where they literally can't touch each other, but they can get it's like close, or they can cause like problems within this, like not touching, like kicking up dirt and things like that. You know, you can be really venom. But I'm thinking like it's lethal lottery style. Like you don't get to choose your partner. In order to reward only the most talented, the pairs are formed by lottery. During the dance, elders stand above in a loft, periodically rain down leaves. These leaves are from the razor vine plant and are extremely sharp. I think almost like a death from 1,000 cuts type of thing. Adding an expedience of potential injury and a weak giving up. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's not. This is not. But it's not experience, guy. I just want expedience. Hey, Google. There's a word called expedience. XP. I'm spelling it right. Why are you F off? I literally just had to Google a word for your fucking Google program. All right. I think this is a good starting point. So I'd like to kick back to either DNO or Star Wars for the limited amount of time we have Matt.
All right.
Because I think I'll probably end when Matt leaves, and then I'm probably going to watch a horror movie.
Ooh. You know what you're gonna watch?
No clue.
All right.
I might watch Impedagore. I feel like I have to get my glasses so I can see the screen, but subtitles be tripping.
Yes.
Also, if you're not a member, come please join the Discord where I put up my list, as well as our list for people who don't like horror movies. In the Spoopy Boys channel on the Known World United page. Look, we have page now. We have Bad at Game. We have Chaos Gar. We have Down Outlands. We have Meng on Meng. Prep School. Spoopy Boys. Scum and Villainy, where there's been a lot of memeing going on. And then Take Me Home Old Fair Road. So, hey, I liked the Danhausen pictures. And I do feel like those pictures made me feel like Danhausen is definitely a dual class ranger warlock. Because, man, if you know me. Shag, I'm about that cube life. Cube life. So don't feel bad. I like all the pictures. So yeah. Anything Star Wars that's kind of cube life, hell yeah. Anything Star Wars that or kind of Star Wars related. I mean, we could always, Matt. This might be a perfect time. Thanks, Google, for taking all the piss and vinegar out of my reveal.
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm trying to think.
Introducing.
You could. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm thinking of like other Star Warsy stuff that might just stuff that I've been because I'm on Unlimited. I'm reading all the comics and stuff, and they've been pulling out some kind of interesting stuff. You know, they've been doing stuff in Darth Vader with all the other all the handmaidens.
Yeah, I really what I've seen of that, I've been like, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a fun way to do it. I guess we don't know how the story ends for the Bad Batch, but they'd still be knocking around during, I think, your time period.
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Yeah.
So I'd like to hit that up. I think that's a
Yes.
fun thing
Oh, yes.
that you came up with. Also, where's my other games file? Yes, I got too many files. I've been trying to remember what the name of this was, but back in the day, for the West End system, there are so many things in here.
Oh, yeah.
There was a book, and it had a race in it. Nice. Oh, I didn't even know Target toy coupons. I've yet to see like the new Rulers of the Sun 3-pack show up anywhere with them, because that's something I also need to get.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it now.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah.
There was like a race of bounty hunters that I really wanted to bring back that I actually used in Star Wars when I used to play the D6 game.
Mm.
I'm trying to remember what book it might have been in. This is the problem is like I don't have a Chris Perkins memory. I don't know if you've ever seen Chris Perkins talk about D&D. And he'll like name issues of Dungeon and Dragon magazine in page numbers that are
Yeah,
shit before he worked for them.
yeah,
But
that's no.
his memory is wild.
Mm.
And then there's some of it like he wrote as a for hire person where he'll be like, oh yeah, I wrote on that at this time. First of all, anything Chris Perkins DMs that you can watch online, watch. He's great. And then when you find out that he also has real bad anxiety and he was doing all those Penny Arcade live shows at PAX and he has like significant anxiety and how well he does in those.
Yeah.
And he's talked about like, yeah, I would be throwing up before he went out. He's like, I love playing with those guys. I love running for them. You know, for Patrick Rothfuss, for Will Wheaton, for the two Penny Arcade guys, for all these people. But I'm doing it in front of hundreds of people. And then we started doing it so people could watch it in theaters.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Because like we went and watched it at theater a couple times. They're great. They're super fun. But he was like, it was just killing me. Let's check and see if it was this. What? Maybe we won't be checking this. Maybe my thing is like, no, you won't. Huh, weird. Hmm. I'll have to go back into my stuff. Like, always upsetting. Let's see if I can open this. Look at that Buck Wild stuff.
Yeah.
I love West End Star Wars. If I wanted to run something with more rules, I would just run this. Because it's a really, really great system. It just I run D&D and that's goddamn
fiddly. You don't need
that's too fiddly already.
Yeah.
I don't need more fiddliness. All right. Well, I mean, Matt, it's almost time for you to go.
It is.
Why don't you tell fools where you're gonna be at, what you're gonna be doing?
Well, let's see here. We got Star Wars not this week, but next. I assume I'm doing Chop and Chop on Tuesday. We'll see if everything goes as I expected. I will be doing that. And
well, I know that there's David's got a lot going on, and if he needs to cancel, I mean, I think everyone should be giving him as much grace or space as possible. If you want to come hang out, if it doesn't end up happening, you're always welcome to come hang out with Colin and I from 7 to 8.
As far as I know, we're doing it, but we'll see. Super Spike. I guess I saw that the somebody was saying the Transformers weren't working either. So I don't know if the coupon's busted or if they've really just narrowed it down or what. But that it's ridiculous. It's BS. So
I kind of get the feeling that there just seems to be a lot of like just weird stuff with like these places and how they treat people who buy toys.
I feel like it's probably an error, but it's certainly possible that they decided that because I know in the past it's like, oh yeah, here's this coupon. It never applies to Lego. Or here's this discount. You can never use it for like video games, which, that's their prerogative, but make it clear. in the offer and say, yeah, here's the thing, here's the stuff that's excluded. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it just seems like a weird hill to die on, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, I think that it definitely feels like they're kind of like, hey, we really don't give a shit about you. So, by the way, I have another one of those League of Legends figures coming today from Amazon because they
Oh.
periodically go on sale for like $10, and I've been grabbing them as they go on sale. Those two ladies I gave you they're real nice figures. I just took the
I didn't
heads
know
and the
those. That's the first time I'd ever seen those.
Yeah, and then I'll have a Masterverse Stratos for you too,
Okay.
because that was like $13. I finally bought one. So, and you know me, I just want the business, the bits, the business end of things. I don't know. Matthew, thank you as always for being a homie and coming and hanging out. Sorry that we screwed up the beginning.
This has been fun, and you were showing me your cool stuff, and we got to come up with some fun ideas. So
we did.
All good by me.
What we got tomorrow is Down Outlands, but it's on hiatus. So I won't see any of you until Ming on Tuesday, and then I won't see any of you until the 8th for prep school. And then the 9th, Scum and Villainy, baby. It's back. So gird your loins. It's going to be a rough one.
And loin your girds.
Loin your girds. Have a wonderful Sunday. Get some rest. Get ready for the week ahead.
Thank you for joining us,
until
everybody.
Then.
And yeah.
Yeah.